I was talking about the rapture yesterday, and then I drifted off. The pre-trib, post-trib, mid-trib, and I was saying that it depends on who you are going through it. The church, when you hear these typical pastors online with churches, they'll say, we're not going to be here for the tribulation because we're going to get raptured up out of here. Well, it's a bunch of horse malarkey. Because the tribulation, even Matthew Daly had it right from the beginning. We're all going through the tribulation. Get over it. He was right. Everybody's going to go through the tribulation. One way or another, you're going to go through it. You can either try to go around it, or you can go through it. A tribulation is something that it's trial. There's trials and errors. The errors is your belief system, and then when it comes crashing down and it's proven that what you believed wasn't even close to the truth, your faith gets crushed. By design, because the devil made it that way. All these broken promises about God, and then it comes crashing down, and then you lose your faith in God, and then you turn aside and go back believing in the devil, because by design he did it that way. So nobody's going anywhere. Nobody's leaving. Nobody's poofing away, disappearing. The day that happens is when you die. Now, you know, here in hell, it's not so bad, really. It's like, yeah, my life could be better. I could have, really the main thing is if you're financially secure, it doesn't matter where you're at, because you can live your life. You can enjoy it, you can live it. The world can be crashing down around you on TV. Doesn't matter. You can still get up. Like if I didn't have to work for a living, I don't have to do anything, but if I want a comfortable place to live, a quiet neighborhood, you know, except for the yapping dog across the street all of a sudden, I can't imagine living there for the next 10 years with this dog, with them letting it outside and just yapping away, because it's rude. It's, you know, my dog barely barked, and if he did bark outside, well, he didn't. The only time my dog barked was when he was rolling on a rock. Bowie's best friend was a rock in the backyard that he found. I mean, he would roll on that rock, he would pick it up with his mouth, he would prance back and forth like a show dog. He was so proud of that rock. And it's so crazy because Bowie, the dog, D-O-G, G-O-D, his best friend was a rock. The Rock. But anyway, that's the only time he would let out a bark. You know, if you dog owners, you're ignorant. When you leave your dog outside and you let it bark and you let the neighbors hear your dog barking, you can hear the dog barking, obviously, if the neighbors can hear it. But anyway, if I didn't have to work for a living, here's what I would do. First thing I would do, I would get up, I would drive to the gym and get my workout in, first thing. I would do basically what Jacob Israel acts like he does. And then, well, depending on where we live, it would be I would definitely be living where there's an ocean, water, beach, warm weather. San Diego, probably. Considering that the weather is absolutely perfect all the time. And then I would, I don't know, maybe once a week I would go to the art museum, direct another music video from the past. I would just pick and choose different rooms. At request, I would type in whatever song I want to produce, and I would just keep doing that until my earthly life is expired. And and then considering that the greatest day of a demonstration of faith in my life, the greatest, most tangible, evidential day of my life, besides 3/23/2023, because that wasn't really about faith, that was just about trying to make my own music videos, and then I did. I learned that I can go into that place. I can really, it's not just the art museum, but I mean, it is where all these 20 songs used certain clips, like an overlay image, to copy my footage that I directed as a music video director, and how I encourage them to sing their words about the things that I'm showing you. But the greatest demonstration of faith in my life was on the 2nd month and the 17th day of the month in my 6th year being on YouTube, when I said, my faith tells me that I'm going to go into the art museum. I'm going to do it again. I didn't say I hope I'm going to do it again. I said I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to put on YouTube, and I'm going to go do another random shuffle, and YouTube's videos is going to line up with my imagery. Kim Jean's last video, he was just talking about that, the faith, tangible evidence. He's showing the mouth opened up like Bono with the horse, how I lined it up twice, but the opposite direction, and the string theory. You remember, no strings attached. The first song, God Part 2, the first song was where Bono's messing with the string around Edge's face, and the strings that's attached is lifting up my video at the bottom. And so that's what Kim was talking about. But that would be heaven on earth for everybody, is financial relief. That's what it is. That's really, truly what heaven on earth would be like. You know, there's a bunch of elite, evil elites. I don't even understand it. For all you people that have money, not everybody is, you know, evil in that sense, but you may do some rituals to show your allegiance to Satan, and you're rich in this world, but you're a kind person, you know, you're a nice guy and all that, but you may do like you know, your allegiance to Satan is first and foremost. But for those of you that have money, you can do whatever it is that you want to do day in and day out for the rest of your life. And you're still angry at things and you get irritated easily. What's wrong with you? Well, I'll tell you what's wrong with you. You need Christ inside of your spirit. Because then things won't bother you. The main thing that's stressful for all human beings right here in hell, in this pit hole that we're all lied to about, saying that you're going to go to another place when you die. Well, what if, I'm just going to go by my own life. I was never born before. This is the first time. If I was born at some other point in life, I don't remember it. Therefore, considering I don't remember any other time being alive, and hell is a place where you're eternally separated from God, because God isn't in the realm of hell. Although you can be with Him wherever you're at, but being eternally separated from God and hell being eternal torment, well, here's what the torment is. You live here. It can be good or bad depending on your parents, you know, depending on how you're raised or whatever. And then the suffering in the flesh, although there's times things feel great. If you get sick and you're, you know, crippled or whatever, bedridden, things could be bad. But those things can be fixed if you have enough money to get it fixed. And that's the thing. So when you have access to having, you know, physical help for your body, you can live as long as you can healthy. And then that's the whole point. So living here on earth, being in torment, eternally tormented, that just means that you're going to live here on earth in the flesh, and then you die. If you don't go to heaven, here's the worst thing that's going to happen to you. You're going to repeat and come back to earth again in another baby's body, and you're not going to remember your previous life. That's it. That's my conclusion. This is hell, because it's not heaven, is it? It's the exact opposite of heaven. You got to turn everything upside down. Flip everything upside down. If everything isn't free, then everything in heaven is free. If you're going to feel pain down here on earth, then you don't feel pain up in heaven. If you're in the presence of God all the time, in hell, you're not in the presence of God all the time. It's the exact opposite. Everything's the exact opposite. Satan wants everybody to worship him right here in hell. But he doesn't want to tell you that it's hell, because he wants you to believe there's another place worse than this. And then once you get there, you know, the other place is where people choose to be. Hell was made for Satan and his angels, was it not? It wasn't even meant for us to be inhabited here, but somehow we got trapped and we got stuck down here. You may think you did something wrong to get down here. Well, you probably did. Some of you may even know that this is hell, and you did repeat your life already. But that's because you chose to. You decided to follow Satan. All you had to do is just believe in God and not follow Satan's ways. And when you die, you would have already been up in heaven by now. So some of you may already know that this is hell, and you already repeated it. But that may be the Satan's minions. But the reason why Satan wants to instill fear into you is because he just may know the moment you die. Let's say this. This is my theory. Everybody's born first in the flesh, because Satan has first dibs. Who comes first? The Antichrist. Well, Christ can appear unknowingly, and then the Antichrist pops right up as soon as Christ appears, but dominates and takes over. So everybody's born in the flesh first, here on earth, And this earth is actually hell, because it's hell on earth. There's way too much tangible evidence of everybody that already knows what this place is. Even Kim Jong dropped a hell on earth statement just in his last video, because he knows that this is hell on earth. I don't know if Kim Jong is actually on earth. Like if I could go over, because if I was freed up, I would drive all across America and meet everybody that I've ever watched, and every subscriber that ever wants to meet up. That's what I would do, but I can't, because I don't have the financial means to do it, and I have to work almost every day to pay bills and just to live, because of the price of living. Now, heaven to me would be all that gets freed up, and it doesn't matter what plane of existence I'm living in, because I'm freed up. Freedom. To wake up and not have to go and do a job, physical labor, and you have access to doing whatever it is that you want to do. Well, it's similar to what the Masons get to enjoy, the 33rd degrees. You don't really have to do physical labor, because you get other people to do it for you. But you can't actually retire, because, well, Satan's the one that gave you that life, so you need to, you still have to work. But I'm talking about true freedom. Freedom that God gives you because you were faithful to Him all throughout this time, and then He finally rewards you. So that's what I'm waiting for, the reward. I heard Kim Jong say it today. You give pastors money, you support them, you feed them because they feed you. Your reward is in heaven. It doesn't mean you have to wait until you die and go to heaven. But the amount of food, the amount of bread, the amount of wine, the amount of the things that I have been able to share to everybody, it's not that I've gotten that in return in a financial sense. At one point, there's a few people that donated, and that was cool at that time. But that's not something I'm looking to rely on at all. That was just a test. The amount of food that I've provided for the people, even the top tier channels, that's enough for an eternity of a reward on my end. And that's why the best way for God to show His appreciation for me having faith in Him is the money that revolves around this world through the Powerball. It's a perfect example. It's another demonstration of faith when I say that's how God's going to reward me. That my faith tells me that at a certain point in time, I'm going to play the specific Powerball number on a specific day, and I'm going to hit it. And then I'm going to go back to the videos that I said I would hit it and show you that I hit it. I'm not going to hide it. But nobody wins the lottery like that. That's the thing. Everybody that wins it, it's like they were the elite family members. They were chosen to give, they were chosen and they were given the numbers. So I'm the low man of the totem pole of the elite's family. It's even proven in my baby picture before I was sacrificed, I believe, as a child under 2 years old, because Herod was around. Sure, I'm dead. I'm here. I'm in hell. At some point, I finally wake up, but that's when I die. But in the meantime, while I'm here, I'm gonna raise up hell I'm going to raise hell. The only way you can raise hell is by defeating the devil in his own playground. You know that bully in the school? He was there first, or maybe he flunked 10 times and he's like the big bully in the grade school, in the playground, and he's like the devil. And then you come along and he picks on you a few times here and there, and then he gets comfortable with it and he thinks he can keep doing it. And then at a certain point, you just had enough, and you crack him dead in his face and knock him straight to the ground. Or in the forehead like Goliath. Once you do that, you've taken over his playground. Now, the kids the kids that watch that event, they fear and respect you. And now they're laughing at the bully, the devil, who got defeated in his own playground. So that's what this is. So freedom of your financial situation, that's going to create heaven on earth. So that's what I've been working on. And yeah, I know it's something that I can't even say it to anybody on earth, family wise, wife wise, anything, because it doesn't, nobody can really see it. But when I said that I was going to go into the art museum, and I am going to do it again, a half hour before I did it again, as Bono's videos are lining up with the imagery, just like I said that it would. Do you understand, people out there? Do you understand what happened that day? Can you let that sink in? These are worldwide famous rock bands from 30 years ago. Their music videos were produced before I even went to the art museum, and I'm showing you my footage lining up with their videos. It's conclusive. There's no doubt about it that it's my footage, and it's from the past. It's a time traveling experience. That means at this exact moment, I don't know if anybody else has experienced it yet or has done it, but at this exact moment, they chose me because I chose them. But I only chose them because they chose me before I knew that I chose them. And it just keeps going back and forth, where what came first, the chicken or the egg? This doesn't go unannounced. This doesn't go unseen. Even though it's unheard of and it's unbelievable and it's impossible, I said it out loud and recorded it. The date, the time, the event. Before I go into this art museum, I am going to do it again before I did it again. And then I showed you how I did it again. And this is the past that I showed you. I was going to reach into the past, take imagery from U2's videos and among 8 other artists that day, and I'm going to just record it straight through. Even the commercials are going to play through 15 seconds at a time, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, it doesn't matter. Whatever I show you is going to line up at a certain point in every single video, and it did. For an hour straight. And 6 minutes and 13 seconds. That is worth all the money in the world. It's worth all the money in the world. You know, Jonathan Kleck says, what I'm getting ready to give you is, you can't even give me all the money. It's worth more than all the money. Well, yeah, because that information, well, you know, Jonathan Kleck already has all the money in the world. So that's why he doesn't need, when people say, this is more valuable than all the money in the world, and I wouldn't give it up for it. Well, you already did everything in this world. You've already had all the money. You printed it. You folded it. You blew up the buildings to make it look like the images that you folded, that you printed. The house of the Rothschilds and you know, the money makers and exchangers. You've already done all that stuff. So, and it's not like Jonathan Clegg is broke. It's not like he doesn't have his, you know, you're it. And being up on YouTube every day, it's like Jacob Israel. Who's the Antichrist? Who's the Antichrist? Well, the Antichrist is going to be somebody that is influencing the world. Stephen James Deshawn isn't getting up every day doing videos. The Antichrist is going to be somebody that's continuously making videos, continuously being able to influence his audience, continuously, and somebody that has thousands of subscribers, not just 150. Steve came first, and then it's like he was told to, you know, they kind of put aside and let the Antichrist rise up. Because I know I've said Stephen James the Antichrist and all that stuff, but truly it comes down that Antichrist is somebody on YouTube right now that does videos almost every day. So who does videos almost every day? Jonathan Clegg, Jacob Israel, and that's about it. So between the two, and I met both of them on 75th year anniversary down at Wildwood. Christopher Green, Morning Star, Boardwalk, and Will Smith, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Right, Jacob? Keep your wife's name out of my mouth. Well, stop showing me stuff that I'm able to talk about. Stop participating in XApp moments with me, and I will stop talking to you. Not that I've shown much of Jacob Israel lately, but I like the past stuff more than anything new. I like to remember Jacob Israel as the one that I started the XApp with. Not so much the, you know, the stiff neck Bowie named after, because that's just something that's it was uncalled for, and you never apologized for it. You never asked for forgiveness for it, so whatever. I say, just leave it in the past. Every moment is back there. Every single moment is back there. And who is the Antichrist? Well, the Antichrist is somebody who is an imitation of Christ himself. And Lucifer is that imitation. I don't understand why Lucifer. Why do you want to be worshipped as Jesus when you're Lucifer? Why not just be worshipped as Lucifer and be known as Lucifer and not act like you're Jesus? Isn't Lucifer cooler than Jesus anyway? Why would you want to stoop down to being worshipped as if you're Jesus when you're Lucifer? I don't know. I just don't. I wouldn't prance around saying I'm Lucifer if I was Jesus. You're degrading yourself. Just be yourself, really. And that's what it is. Lucifer is the ruler of earth, because earth is hell. Because this is the pit, and we're in it. He's the controller of it. Not that he's the same way he was before, because he doesn't, Lucifer isn't, you may think he's still, but remember, he says, F you, pay me in the end, because he actually, you know, he actually turned into Jesus. So therefore, he can go around saying that he's Christ because Christ took over that vessel of Lucifer, who used to have the spirit of Satan controlling him. There's nothing better than casting out Satan in your mind, knowing that he had control of you your entire life. I mean, I don't know how many of you have felt that way, but I do. And I'm in his playground. I've already knocked them down with a smooth stone, cracked them right in the forehead, just like David did. Same thing. Little old shepherd boy. But I don't remember having Uriah killed and sleeping with his wife and, you know, having a child and all that stuff. But it's just a similitude of what I've been through. The serpent rising from the sea, there's a physical representation of it. It's at the Philadelphia Art Museum. It's the head of the serpent rising up from out of Schuylkill River. It's clearly a serpent with a crown. And I clearly wounded the head of that building that's called the Secret Vatican, the Philadelphia Art Museum, because when I went in there, I punched through the veil, tearing it down. The veil was something that was covered up. It was a time travel experience. I proved that the past most famous rock band videos like U2, that I actually directed the video footage. Although they used different footage, but it's all similar, like a layover. And it's identical. So that's the wound. That truly is the wound to the head of the Vatican. Because it's been exposed for what it is. People trying to take my glory. People trying to take my... You know, did you think... It's like this, Bono. Did you really think that I was never going to find that out? Or did you do it purposely because Lucifer sets the stage to worship God through music, and you're just doing your part? It's not like you were trying to hide it from me. You're just waiting for me to find out, and you rejoiced when I found out, and you're thrilled to death now because I found out. I'll look at it that way instead of looking at it as if you were trying to hide it from me, because you already know what I'm going to do throughout my entire life, because you obviously use my footage. Therefore, you know the end result too is when I finally wake up and figure out where I got to meet at, that it's going to be something that Jonathan Kleck gets up and says, the Lord dropped a bomb on me this morning. Because as soon as he wakes up and watches my videos, it's in the morning. I usually finish my videos before midnight. You know how Mary would sit at Christ's feet at what time was it? Midnight. So there's something that before the day's over, that's my time. Before the day's over. Jonathan Kleck's time is midnight plus. So when I'm done and he watches and sees, and then he says the Lord dropped the bomb on him, well, because the Lord did drop the bomb on him. That's what God does. God is a culmination of everything combined together in bomb form. So a nuclear bomb went off at the Philadelphia Art Museum and wounded the head of it. It happened last year on my wife's birthday. But this time around, the third actual trip, even though it was part 2 because it was the second time I did U2 to start off with, a random shuffle. This third time around was the absolute atomic nuclear bomb, because I demonstrated my faith in God and proved it. I am going to go in to the art museum, and I am going to do it again. I'm not hoping it's going to happen again. I said I'm going to do it again. I'm going to. And then I proved that I did it the same exact way that I had faith in showing you something that's impossible, literally impossible. It's not even something that you hear about. It's unheard of, and it's impossible. It's even unrealistic to even say, hey, my faith tells me I'm going to go. Hey, my faith tells me I'm going to go into the art museum today, and I'm going to put on a random YouTube shuffle and watch. Their imagery is going to line up with mine. Yeah. Okay, Robin. Well, guess what? When I prove to you that it did happen, then what do? Do you still deny it because the devil just won't allow you to want to believe it whatsoever? Well, believe what you want. This is just me talking out loud to my journal so God can hear it. And then everybody else other than God who hears it, you either have the ear to hear it or you don't. Your ear's cut off. It's not about convincing anybody. I'm showing God what happened, and I'm showing his people, and I'm even showing the devils that you're being tormented before your time. Yes, that's exactly what's happening here. You're being tormented before your time. Because why? Well, because you tormented me for 47 years. Ever since I breathed my first breath in hell. Because that's where we're at. We're hell. We're in hell. This is hell. It doesn't have to be hell, but it is. Because everything isn't free, and everything in heaven is. And because God isn't in the presence of everybody 24/7, and in heaven he is. What's the exact opposite of heaven? Hell. What are we doing here? We're waiting around. No, this is purgatory, Robin. Isn't that hell? When you're in prison and you don't know when you're getting out, is that not purgatory? Isn't it hell to not know when you're getting out? Because when I was in there for a year and a half, I had no idea I was going to get out until the very day. If I got sentenced right away, it would have felt less like hell because I wouldn't have been waiting in purgatory, and I would have been able to get out on work release immediately. Just like my cousin did, who snitched on me and added extra charges that I didn't even do. He got out immediately because he snitched. It's okay though, I forgave him immediately, but he never reciprocated because I think he felt stupid. For me saying on his Facebook page, I forgive you for everything that has been done, move on from it. No response. Because people that don't have the Christ spirit, they don't even, it's uncomfortable for them, all right? For people to be kind to them after they backstab them. And think about all the people on YouTube that are going through that too. I've forgiven everybody for all of it because I've already taken over the whole entire system in spiritual form first before it manifests literally. So before I get freed up and hit the Powerball, because God is going to make sure that I do, because my faith tells me that he will, because it's a well-earned reward. Yep. Before that happens, I'm going to speak all these things out loud, and you're going to watch them happen. And what's my goal? My goal is to demonstrate what faith looks like. Follow me. Keep watching my channel. Watch. I'm going to go into the art museum, and I'm going to do a live stream. And I'm going to point out the imagery that's going to line up with somebody's famous rock band video from 30 plus years ago. I'm going to point to you as you're seeing it unfold live. That way you can look at it yourself and see it live. A miracle happening live, and me demonstrating my faith before I go live, because there's no other way to make it 100% solid, concrete evidence of faith is to do a live stream, going into the art museum, recording a famous rock band's video. It doesn't even have to be a rock band, just anybody that made a video worldwide, and my imagery is going to line up with it. And I'm telling you, it's going to happen before it happens. That's worth all the money in the world. That's why you can't give me all the money in the world and then say, forget what you know, because I already know what I know, and I'm going to get all the money in the world, because it's my job to do that and then to distribute it evenly and fairly throughout the planet, so that way heaven can come down here on hell to take over.